So I was thinking Jesus is a lot like rocks, especially in Europe. European society was built by rocks, well, humans using rocks, I guess. And it's been happening for centuries and millennia, and at this point in time, we've just got rocks everywhere. So many rocks, you don't even really notice them anymore. And that's how it is with Jesus, too. Though he in Europe is not quite as old as the rocks, he is about in as many places as the rocks. And just as we don't really notice the rocks anymore, Dallas Willard thinks we don't notice Jesus anymore. And for that reason, we don't really know what he's about. Now, what Dallas Willard thinks that Jesus is about is an invitation. That he is an invitation to live in God's heart and life. That God is a community of boundless and competent love, and Jesus came not only to tell us that, but to say, wouldn't you like to be a part of that as well? I'll show you how. Hey everybody, welcome to the Sanctus Forum. I am Michael Stewart Robb, better known as Mike, and we're doing the Conspiracy Commentaries here. A book by Dallas Willard. The Divine Conspiracy is our text, and we are going through it section by section, about 2 pages at a time, and talking about it. And the reason we're doing this is because it can be a difficult book for some people. Both for lay people who perhaps haven't really ever read a theology or philosophy book, which this is for many people the first one that they read, but also for maybe the well-trained theologians and philosophers, because I find that not a lot of them understand Dallas Willard very well either. And there's some interesting reasons for that. One of them is it looks like it's a popular bestseller book. And another is Dallas has a gift, maybe a knack of being subtle. Maybe a little too subtle, too proverbial, and it's not always clear to the sophisticated reader what Dallas is really getting at. So anyway, we're doing these things. I hope that they're helpful for you. Do hit those like buttons with your finger and subscribe and all that good stuff. Go over to Sanctus Institute, sign up for our almost monthly newsletter. The Invitation. The Invitation is our section for today. It's a part of a new section. Dallas has kind of rounded the corner, and for many people, this might be the best place to start, at least this chapter, because he's going to start talking about the themes that really will occupy him for the rest of the book. The Invitation is still he's still teasing some of those themes because he's going to talk about Jesus in the book, but he's going to kind of talk about Jesus and circle around him until he gets to him here in the 5th chapters when he first mentions him. And one of the reasons why he does that is he thinks that once you say Jesus, people are going to say, yeah, all right, I got it. I know it now. I know what Jesus is about. And what he wants to say is, no, you don't. No, you don't. The reason why you don't know what Jesus is about is it's almost as if there's too much Jesus around. But it's not Jesus, it's just parts of Jesus. And the parts of Jesus kind of create a sense of familiarity, which Dallas calls over-familiarity. It's like the rocks that I was talking about. So many rocks around, you know that they were here, there, and each one kind of is interesting. You think you know what it's about, but it just kind of a piece. And that's the way Jesus is, especially in Europe, where he kind of shows up. If you go to a culture that didn't sort of have a lot of Jesus in its history, it's not the same. But in Europe, he's kind of everywhere, and yet not. And that's the other part of the problem. Dallas Willard says is it's like there's so much Jesus around, so many parts of Jesus around, that the majority of people don't really know what he looks like put together. And I guess you could say, in a sense, this book, all 428 pages with the notes, is trying to put Jesus together for us. And here in this chapter, Dallas is going to give us kind of his billboard version of what Jesus is about. And Jesus is an invitation. He says, we are invited to make a pilgrimage into the heart and life of God. And that's it. Jesus came to say, this is what God's like, and if you follow me, I will take you into his world. That's it. Now there's a lot more to it after that, but that's, at least according to Dallas, what he thinks. I don't want to make this a terribly long video, but things like the divine conspiracy, that phrase is mentioned for the very first time, second paragraph, but that is part of the divine conspiracy. Notice that it's not capitalized. We'll see this again here, but the divine conspiracy was not Dallas Willard's original title for this book. It was a kind of a compromise with his editor. It's a good title, but the divine conspiracy means something rather specific in Dallas's theology, and we're going to have to get to it. But just note there that sort of divine conspiracy is there, not capitalized. Other things, he's kind of tipping his hat to KARL Barth here in one of the chapters. Humanity, for the most part, still lives in a far country. KARL Barth has this wonderful, I think it's the beginning of one of his huge theological volumes where he talks about Jesus going into a far country, which is where we live. I guess as a takeaway sort of thing, and one for me too, as somebody who's presuming that he can talk about a book like this or talk about Jesus, have we really met Jesus? Have we really heard what he's got to say? Think about that. Till the next video.